Oh, well, hello everybody. How you doing, Dave Fennoy? And why doesn't it want to play? Won't do it. All right, my theme music's not working. I upgraded my Ecamm Live, and of course, it's giving me technical difficulties now. It's that kind of day, by the way. My guest for this evening had to bail on me. Darcy Smith. He was going to be great. Darcy is a voice actor who specializes in accents. Does a lot of teaching of accents. He does a zillion accents. We're going to talk about his growing up in a neighborhood in Canada where there were people from everyone, and that's how he got his start. But the dentist did him wrong, so we'll get him on another time. Oh, by the way, I didn't introduce myself. But you know who I am, Dave Fennoy. And this is Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. We talk about voiceover. We answer your questions. You get to hear me pontificate about God knows what. Got some great people coming up. Next week, it's going to be my very dear friend, Rolanda Watts. For those of you who are old enough to remember the 90s, there was a TV show on called Rolanda. It was one of the talk shows, and she was a newscaster in New York. She's been a commentator on CNN. She does a zillion things. She's written a couple of steamy books, romantic novels, and she does a fair amount of voiceover. So next week, we're going to have a chance to talk to Rolanda for a little bit. The following week, on the 9th, Ganguzza. Now, Ganguzza is a fixture in Southern California voiceover. She's down there in Orange County, and she's not one of those people you're hearing her on a lot of commercials or cartoons or whatnot, but she has been a beacon for voice actors in Orange County and Los Angeles. Does a lot of narration and just has helped so many people. Once again, one of the wonderful things about voiceover is that's what we do. All right. After that, from Vegas, baby, Melissa Moats. She has a place called the Actors Studio, and on the 16th, she will be here talking about her career. She does some of everything and has a whole place where actors can go and learn, train, use her ISDN. Well, I'm not even sure it's ISDN anymore, but do remote sessions when they don't have the studio to do them themselves. She helps people with demos and whatnot. I have taught for her a number of years. Usually it's a couple trips a year to Vegas. And of course, with the pandemic, I'm not sure this year if we're going to go there. It's a little later in the fall. We might drop. Also, on the following week, 6/23, Cliff Zellman. If you've ever wanted to do voiceover for automotive, Cliff Zellman is the guy. He is the man that puts together automotive voiceover demos, and he knows that business inside and out. And it is one of the most lucrative areas of voiceover, so you don't want to miss that. And I don't want to miss saying happy anniversary, 9 years to J. Michael Collins and his wife, Anna. 9 years together. And Anna, you clearly are a patient woman. Anyway, that said, let's check in. And, one of the best things when I don't have a guest is I can do things like a check-in and, hey, there's Charity James. How you doing, Charity? And Jimmy Bancole, what's going on, man? And Jimmy says, drat. That's got to be about Darcy not being here. Thomas, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Let's see. Mark Smeltzer. Dave, want me to interview you tonight on your show since your guest didn't show up? That's interesting. But maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that another time. I don't know if that's a thing I want to do now. I had a busy day today, but I took a little time out at one point to scroll through Facebook as I am wont to do sometimes. That's one of my favorite ways to waste time, is to just kind of go, oh, what's that? Oh, I like that. Oh, I like that. Oh, that's kind of good. Oh, there's a video. Oh no, that's 2 minutes. I don't have 2 minutes for that video. But I came across, and we're going to have him on at some point. Don't have the date yet. My buddy Pat Duke was ranting and raving about NDAs. Now, anybody who's been doing this for a while and has had a chance to compare a couple years ago to now, we are signing so many NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. And now Pat was really ticked off about all the NDAs. And really saying, well, they don't have much weight in the industry, that they can't really sue you. They can't really take your money. They aren't really binding legal documents. But I think the importance of NDAs, they started especially with video games, because video games came out of the computer industry. The computer industry is very secretive. And the last thing in the world they wanted was for voice actors to go on like, gosh, I just got an audition for this. Oh, this game is coming out. It's going to be wonderful. And tell you the storylines and whatnot, or let the scripts out and so forth. So we have to sign a lot of NDAs now. Well, it has moved over into commercials. And I think it really began with Amazon and some of the other, Netflix, some of the online high-tech companies and commercials for high-tech companies that don't want their messages sneaking out before they're ready. Do I like signing them? Not particularly. They're not the most pleasurable thing to do, and they can take up a lot of time if you don't know how to do it quickly. Let me just say this. However you get them, if it's a Word file, turn it into a PDF. If it's a PDF, just click on the markup and sign where you need to sign. Oh, but how do I sign that? Well, in a PDF, you can create your signature, your actual signature. You can do it. I have a little pad here. That's what I use. And I can just sign with my finger on that, or I could use one of my pens that has that little rubbery thing there, which would allow me to do that. You can create a number of signatures, which is what I do. I'll have not just one, but 10 or 12, and every now and then I'll update them, signatures and my initials for signing documents. And that way it's just pull up the PDF, sign where you need to sign. You got to put the date in there, click on the text box, put the date in there, and then send it to whoever you've got to send it to. Or you can also save it. I have a little file of NDAs. But it's just a part of the business now. And I'm going to have a talk with Pat about this, because I think sometimes as we get older, we are a little resistant to change. I see this in people my age and older and not quite my age, a fair amount. We see this in the greater society. Well, we're at a point now where, as a society, we are recognizing and not tripping out on people who may have a different sexual orientation or may not be sure yet. If it ain't, that's not you, hey, it ain't you. Don't worry about it. Let them live their lives. You live yours. I was venturing off into politics almost. Hey, Theodore Mezzacapo, how you doing, man? And by the way, I know it's just me, but let's get those questions. If you got some questions, things you want to talk about, make sure that's what it's all about. Ask Dave Fennoy anything. I don't want to just rant and keep running my mouth, but I'm gonna for a little while. A reminder, if you're interested in voice-over lessons from me, coaching, you can visit davefennoy.com. And if you are wanting to see old episodes of Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, you can go to YouTube, my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. for that. Couple thoughts I had today. Some days you have a lot of auditions, some days you don't. Your days are different in this business. There are days that it just seems like, well, why did everybody pick today to want their auditions and get their gigs booked? And then the next day it's like, hello, I'm here. I got some time. You want to do this now? Couple of things I do in my business. I save all my auditions, at least for a year or so. I just have a little file, and there they are. And why do I do that? Sometimes a client comes back after X number of days, weeks, months, and they like that particular read that you did. I had an audition come through today that I'd had like 8 months ago. And I went back and listened to that audition and realized, well, something happened that they didn't complete doing the booking they were going to do for this thing. And so they sent it out again. Well, I also have a feeling that they sent it out to the people that they liked from the first audition. So let me go back and see what I did. And let me see what I liked and what I didn't like. And I ended up changing it up a little bit. What had been my favorite audition of the two that I sent became my second favorite. And I did another one with a little different, less edge, less cartoony, less big, more natural. Will I book it? Hey, who knows? I get that question a lot, especially from our civilian friends. What are you doing? Oh, it's just finished an audition. Well, man, good luck. I hope you get it. Oh, yeah, well, yeah. And you see him or hear from him a few. So how'd that audition go? And probably I don't remember which one they were talking about. So it's like, well, if I book it, it went great. But anyway, so saving all my auditions so I can go back and check things out. Also, something that I've noticed lately, you get a lot of auditions that come through and they want you to name them the same thing. So it'll be what your role is and your name. So it might be VO dash your name or VO underscore your name. Well, I have had days where there's been 4 or 5 of those. And you realize when you save the new one, the last one disappears. So since I want to keep all my auditions, or at least keep them for a year or two, I save them twice. I will save them as VO Dave Fennoy, and then I will save them with a name I put in front that will tell me the client or the character or the game or the cartoon, some way that I know what this is. So if I need to go back and find it, I can. It only takes just a few seconds to add that name to a second file, and you'll find it comes in handy. I keep all my copy. Of course, it helps with teaching because I've got actual copy. But I keep it for other reasons too, to kind of get a history of how commercials, how video games, how animation, how narration is written. It changes over the years. Also, I don't print anything anymore. And I think there's so many advantages to not printing your copy. One, you don't have to find a place to put it or hold it or have it rattle. If you need to make the copy bigger or smaller, you can without wasting more ink. You can blow it up to the size you want. If it's a PDF, which another thing that's happening a lot now is watermarks. Oh, I hate the watermarks. And really, I wish they'd stop. I know why they're what they're doing with the watermarks. Oh, we don't want this copy going everywhere, and people are going to put it online, and they're going to this and that and the other. There are ways around the watermarks, and for me, the way around the watermark is because I want to be able to see the copy. And all too often, the watermarks they're too dark. They're in the way of the copy. The last thing in the world we want as voice actors is for something to slow us down in our reading process. It's hard enough to take somebody else's words and translate them into spoken word. So it's the written word that we're translating into the spoken word. Now I've got to look a little harder, and what's that behind that watermark? No. You want to make it as easy as possible. Sometimes you can't always do it, but sometimes I will. If it's a PDF, I will copy it, put it on a Word file, eliminate the watermarks because they don't come up as watermarks then. Sometimes you've got to reformat it. Takes a little time sometime. But then I can blow the copy up as big as I want. I can highlight the things I want to highlight or not highlight, or put things in different colors. Because you know how sometimes there's, alternate copy and instructions and characterizations of what's going on. And you don't need all of that in your way. You want to know all of that. Don't be that lazy voice actor that gets the script and, let's see, yes, my line, bullshit, my line, bullshit, my line. You don't want to be that person. You do want to know what those other lines are, what those stage directions might be, because that is going to be what gives you the clue to what you are actually saying and what you actually might be feeling about what you're saying. But sometimes you just don't want it in your way. So put it on the screen, make it as big as you want. You can scroll, you can highlight, you can make it bold. It's one of my favorite things to do. How many auditions are you getting a day? I know sometimes days are heavier with auditions than others, but I try to take a little break in between each one. I really don't like anymore. I just did that audition. Now I'm going to do this audition. Now I'm going to do that audition. And part of it, I think, has to do with my own foibles. My attention span is not that great. One of the reasons I don't want to do audiobooks on all the time. As a matter of fact, what you've heard me say it before. I've done 3. I hope to never do a 4th. But sometimes if you're trying to fit too much in, your concentration breaks down. Your eyes stop focusing on the words and phrases as much as they once did. And how do you know? Well, usually you're resisting doing the work you need to do. This is work. People think, it's just voiceover, man. You're just talking. No, we're doing a whole lot more than talking. That's the final thing that comes out. But we have to read this copy. We have to understand what the message is. We have to know who we are, who we're talking to. And, if you're talking cartoons, video games, we're adding other things to it as well. Well, what's the movement in this thing? What's this character thinking and feeling? Well, actually, you do that on anything you're doing. But it's work. It's work. And sometimes you just need 5 or 10 minutes, half an hour to back the F up and take a break. Clear your mind so you can come back stronger. Let's see. Didn't write this one down, but unless you're doing long form narration, I suggest standing up. I've also noticed with some of my students recently, and I record everything as a video, and then I send the video to my students afterwards. And one of the reasons I like to see them on video is because this and this says so much about this. Sometimes that read that's not working is because your body language, what your face is doing, has nothing to do with the copy you're reading. Whatever that copy is, whatever that message is, whoever that character is, your body needs to reflect that, what that character is doing, thinking, feeling. Are they smiling? Are they confused? Are they angry? Your face, your body language will change all of that. It happens here last. And if your screen, if your words are in the wrong place, right now I'm looking at the screen. I'm sitting in this chair now in my booth right there. I'm standing up, but The screen is right in front of my face, and the microphone is coming at an angle hitting me. So I'm not looking down, I'm not looking up. And one of the things I've discovered is if you're trying to look at copy like this, you've done something here that messes with you. If you're trying to look up too much, you've done something here that messes with you. You want to be able to look directly at that copy. So get the copy out of your hands, get the phone out of your hands. Oh, please don't read off the phone. Please, please, please don't read off the phone. It's hard enough to read those words with them, but when they're that tiny. But if you're reading off your iPad or a nice size screen, I have a 27-inch screen in my booth, you can make it bigger. It's right there in front of you. It gives you the opportunity for your hands to be free, to at least have truncated motion like you might have. If you're doing a fight, of course, you can't do all the swings and tear up your studio, but you can to bring the reality to it. Okay, well, I've been running my mouth too much, and clearly nobody's typing in any questions. Well, let's see. Theodore has a long paragraph here that I haven't read. Only one of the trepidations, changes I have about getting into VO is having to put myself out there more. Social media outlets, etc. Just to the public in general, I'm a bit of a hermit. Did you have any of that in the beginning? If so, how did you get over it? Yeah, I say this to people a lot. I'm actually, my inner Dave Fennoy is very shy. Somehow I managed to get beyond that as a child. Well, not as a child, but as a young adult. I had a career in radio before this, and then I would I'd be the celebrity host from the radio station for concerts and whatnot, and have to be in front of, thousands of people introducing this group and that group. But what I found was talking to a lot of people actually is less stressful, puts me less on the line than talking to one or two people. You can, in that crowd, it's really faceless, but that one person that you're talking to now, they might be looking into your soul. And that might be one of the reasons I went into radio, and why when I got out of radio, I had to work really hard to become a voice actor who could still do the hard sell, but also be somebody that could just talk to somebody, that could take the words off the page as a particular person with a particular point of view talking to a particular person with whom he had a particular relationship. So, yeah, when I first got in the business, of course, the internet was not a thing, but self-promotion has always been, and I was a little shy about self-promotion, and there was a part of me that always felt like, well, look, my work should speak for itself. Well, the advertising business that I was in a lot, still am, doing commercials, the whole point of it is to let people know that you are there, what you can do, who you are. So it really doesn't make sense, although I'm not the kind of person that just wants to promote. I've learned to do it. But the truth of the matter is, the toothpaste you use was advertised, the sheet you're sleeping on, the pajamas you're wearing, the cereal you eat, the spa you go to, the glasses you wear. Whatever it is you're purchasing was probably something you saw advertised someplace. Maybe it was word of mouth. Somebody told you this. That's, they say, the best way of advertising, but that's how products get sold. And we, as voice actors, have a product, have a service that we're trying to get across, so that we can make the kind of money that we want to make to take care of our lives, to take care of our families, to have the things that we want. And I promise you that advertising works. Advertising works. So, despite the fact Theo, that you're a hermit a little bit. So am I. Use the media, the social media, the way you want to use it. Just because you're on Facebook doesn't mean you have to reveal everything about yourself. Just because you're on Twitter, you don't have to reveal everything about yourself. You're in charge of what you put out there. And so only put out what you need to put out. And after that, let it go, let it go. Let's see, I had one other thing I was let me ask you guys a question and type it in here and I'll address it here. What is the thing that you think holds you back the most in your VO career? And I say that even to those who may be having a pretty good career, but most of us, we're here, but we'd like to be here. I don't care how successful you are. Somebody is looking up at you, but you're looking up at somebody else or at something else, looking up to it because you're not where you want to be. We all have goals that sometimes we haven't met. So what do you think is holding you back from achieving that goal that you want to goal? Let me ask you this. As a voice actor, what do you think you have more of? Talent or perseverance? And which do you think is the most important? I've got another question for you. Well, this isn't so much of a question, but one of the things I notice is that so often we are lazy as voice actors. So often we are relying on the sound of our voice to get us through. And the sound of our voice, that's what people tend to remember. But the only reason they remember it is because we were able to touch them here and here with what we were thinking, how we felt about the thing that we were saying. Well, let's see here. Thomas, I was told I was afraid of success. Okay, you were told that. Did you tell yourself that, Thomas? And no one's ever told me I was afraid of success. There have been a few times that I thought I was. Sometimes I've gone, maybe it's just I'm afraid of the work that it will take to have the success. But people who are afraid of success, my guess would be, because I'm not a psychologist, that it's what goes along with that success, what's expected of you then. I was watching the documentary on Mike Tyson and how unhappy he was after he won. After he became the world champion, and Cus D'Amato died, and the money, the marrying a beautiful actress who none of that made him happy. Just a thought. And let's see, Van Rosebro, marketing time. Hey, Van, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I have always thought of myself much more as an artist than a businessman, but especially now, we have to be business people, and that means marketing. And once again, that kind of goes back to what Theo was talking about with social media. What social media for us, what it really can be, is marketing. Letting the world know we're out there. And sometimes one of the best ways to market yourself is to sit down with other people and have that discussion about who they think you are. What do they feel like when you're talking, when you are presenting yourself? So you can find that picture of yourself. I'm trying not to use the word branding. So you can find your brand and market that. All too often, I think we just don't know how to market what it is we are. I know for myself or for my career, because I can do a lot of different things, sometimes it's hard to put your finger on exactly what it is you are. And I think that's probably more difficult with people who do a wider variety of, say, voices and genres. I think about my late great friend Don LaFontaine, who basically, I'm sure he could have done other things, but he was killing it in the promo and trailer game so hard. He didn't need to do anything else, and he was the voice that you heard in your head and still do for drama and trailers. He knew exactly who he was. He knew exactly what his place is in this business. Sometimes we don't. So even before doing the marketing, find out who you are. Find out who you speak to. Find out what the world thinks of you. You know, sometimes we realize that the industry chooses what we're going to do. I thought I'd be Mr. Trailer Guy. I've done my share of trailers, still do. But if I had to live on trailers, I'd be broke. Let's see. Christina Tattersall, not having enough contacts that are CDs and agents, so working on that slowly. This business has changed so much, but still, the very best work and the most opportunities are going to come from agents. There are people out there who do market very well, who are good talent and great marketers. Some of us aren't built that way. So, Christina, I'm going to suggest hit that marketing to the agents and managers harder. All right, let's see. Jordan Tartakow, both. All right. So I think we're talking about there when you say both. Remember, when I will have said it, it'll be a minute. So when you say both, I think you're talking about talent and perseverance. That's the unbeatable combination. If you've got that, you've got it. I tell you, I have known a lot of people in this business who had tremendous talent and never made it because the perseverance wasn't there. And I've known some other people whose talent was so-so, but they persevered and they did very, very well. J. Horace Black, I'm a balance of both. However, I have more perseverance. Well, good for you. I actually think perseverance will take you farther on its own than talent will take you. Jimmy Bancole, I'm not getting bookings. Accent, not sure. Perseverance, I'm never going to give up. Some days I just lack motivation. Well, you know what? I get that. Some days I lack motivation too. None of us wake up every day. It's like, yeah, it's another day. Let's get at it. Some days you wake up and, oh man, I'm just not feeling it today. But I'll suggest that you live out of your commitments, not out of your feelings. I think it was Benjamin Franklin said, the work of the world is mostly done by people who don't feel very well. You may not be able to get as much done, but you can get something done, even though you're not feeling that motivated. Let's see. Luke de Villars. Hi, dear Dave. It feels like trying to create an image on the internet is now something that is necessary or very helpful for our career. Since I do some live streaming, gosh, it feels weird to do some funny videos on Instagram, be present on conventions, do guest appearance on amateur projects, especially student project. It has created a bigger image and grant me a hell of a lot more projects. And grants me, you wanted that S on there. A video game school is offered, and 30 seconds was going to run out, I knew it. A video game school has offered me a contract to work on most of their prototypes as a voice actor, paid jobs, of course, and allow me to bring other voice actors in the process. So basically trying to be more open about the possibilities of social networking or streaming, or lending your voice to smaller projects is actually a great way for new opportunities. And what you were doing was service. And doing service, I think, always brings a blessing. I'm not a particularly religious guy, but I do believe that across the board in religions, that which you give will return to you tenfold. It has been in every religion, in every philosophy. I was reading something from Danny Trejo the other day, the actor, who's had a wonderful career. He's the beloved bad guy. He's played a bad guy in so many movies, and yet we just love him. We just love him. And Danny said that every good thing that ever came to him came because he was trying to help somebody. He had gone to prison. He'd had a problem with drugs and drinking, and he got out and got clean and decided he was going to help other people. And one of the things he helped them with beyond the drugs, the drinking, was getting in shape. Ended up being an extra on a movie, and that extra role turned into one of the main bad guy roles. What was that movie? Con Air. Yeah, Con Air. So keep showing up and doing good work. Keep helping people. Keep offering your services, and the world will reward you, I promise. Jimmy again. My emotional outlet is now a podcast series I created titled A Story, a Voice. This really challenges me to write and narrate. Hey, I'm all for that, writing and narrating. But one thing I caution people of is don't try to be perfect. Be yourself. I script very little when we're doing this. I don't script the promos I do for this. Basically, I have an idea in my head. I might jot some names or some dates or something like that, and then go for it. Why? Because I think that's true and honest, and I'm not really selling anything here. This is what you think it is. Jeffrey Oliver, what's holding me back was not having enough drive or motivation for anything in my life due to part of some anxiety and depression. But I'm definitely getting better. I just took my first VO workshop at the studio today. Well, good for you. You know, that first step is so often what is the toughest thing is, you know, you can see down the road, well, if I do this, then I'll have this, and then I'll have this, and then I'll have this. But first you got to get up out of the bed, take that shower, put your clothes on, and that's the first step. I forget who the wise man was, but he was asked, what is the first step in enlightenment? And he says, wash the dishes. That's the first thing. All right. Kevin Newsom, how you doing, man? I see you. J. Horace Black. I have on rates. Oh, thank you. You just didn't want to write out the word question. Well, I get it. I have a friend who reached out to me to do intros and exits on their podcast she is starting. She is a high-level business person. What would you charge, or would you charge her for something like this? If it's something she's going to make money on, yeah, I'd charge her. Exactly what that rate might be, my rate might be different than your rate. But I have a rule of thumb. I do a lot of things for free, but it's never something that somebody else is going to make money on. If they're going to get paid, I'm going to get paid. If it's a student project or something like that, hey, happy to help. But, you know, we live in a capitalist world or social democracy or whatever the hell you want to call it. But, you know, money is the oil that eases the way. And this is what we live on. This is what we exchange in this society now. We don't really have a barter system, although that can work too. But mostly we barter, you know, services or goods for money. So if that person is doing something that ultimately is going to pay them, then you should be paid too. All right, one of the best in the business, Miss Jen Henry, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, you, I'm probably more headstrong, pig-headed than talented. It matters, D. Where are we going to see you in the flesh before year's in? New York, TVO, Dallas, OVC. You know, I don't know. Most of the people who have asked me to show up places, you know what? Let's wait another month or two before we decide whether that's going to be in person or not in person. And Jen Henry, you are, you know, headstrong. I was going to say pig-headed. You said it too, so I don't feel so bad about it. But you are also very, very talented. And your pig-headedness, I think, has most to do with just making sure you are doing the things you need to do to move forward in this career. Oh, it's better when I ask you questions, isn't it? Christina Tattersall, service does bring blessings, Dave, 100%. That's my experience. Always, always, always. And sometimes, you do service over here and the blessing comes over here. So don't expect necessarily that, well, gee, I helped that homeless guy. When's he going to be a billionaire and give me some money? That's not how it works. Jay Horace, question I'm taking, enjoying your VO PhD program and really enjoying it, just getting into the VO for Games modules. However, there isn't VO Games Companion PDF. Should I email you for the companion PDF? Oh, wow. I'm surprised that's not there. Yeah, just send me an email to remind me, and I'll send you one. All right. Luc de Villars again. Bonjour, mon frère. Yes, doing services is a good thing to do, but also with these student projects or small projects, it's so much fun and liberating a bit. It's also why we are doing this job, because it can be so much fun, and even if a good laugh won't pay you the bill, it will give you a great boost. Absolutely. And I'm going to, take the other side of it. I was a musician for a long time, and every musician has gotten that thing. Yeah, well, we really can't pay you. We'd love to have you in our club and our restaurant doing your thing, but we really can't afford to pay you. But think of the exposure. Well, when it's cold outside, you can die of exposure. So F that. And as artists, one of the things that happens to us, we so want to do this art. We so want to do this thing that we love, that often we're not looking at they're taking advantage of me. And if they're making money using you as an attraction, as a musician, or to provide entertainment for people that are coming in paying them money, they should pay you some money. It might not be a lot. I remember I was living in Boston, and I was a singer-songwriter, and I was playing at this little club. And at the end of it, I went to get my money, and the guy just said, "I'm not going to pay you." What do you mean you're not going to pay me? He said, "Hey, I'm just not going to pay you, man. I ain't making enough money. I ain't going to pay you." And I wanted to kick his ass, but I didn't. I never played there again or approached the guy again. But sometimes that happens. And I just had to take it as that's the lesson. That's the lesson. Get it in writing. Get at least some of your money up front. And realize that sometimes you're going to get scrawled. It was Baston, Baston, get in the car, go to the bar. All right, Ellery King. I love Jen. She's also a wonderful person. Ask Dave is a blessing. Oh, you're very welcome. And yes, she is. Yes, she is. Well, you know what? I think guestless, and we've gone through a lot today. I'm gonna suggest something. The next time I don't have a guest, it's gonna be a few weeks. I'm gonna try something a little different. I can actually click on a little button here. It'll give the link that I send to my guests, and I could put it in the chat. And what I'm thinking of doing is letting a few people come on, maybe read some copy, maybe have a brief conversation, and then move on to somebody else and move on to somebody else. Would you be interested in something like that? I think it'd be different. It'll be a little fun. So don't be surprised the next time I don't have a guest that we do that. And let's see, Thomas, I'm still fighting to get my strength back in my voice. Can't seem to win the auditions like I was. I need some Dave exercises. Breathing. Taking those nice deep breaths into your nose. Hold it for 5 seconds or so. And do take it into your nose. I'll give you a little tip too. This hasn't so much to do with you're getting stronger, but I was doing a job for Google. I'm one of the Google voices. I think you'll find me listed as the middle-aged black guy or the cool older black guy or something, as uh, one of their assistant voices. And doing the job, it was one of the most specific jobs that I've ever done. When you from the side, okay, so if I'm facing here and here's the microphone, the window from the booth is there. And then on the other side of me is this wall. And on the wall, there are pieces of tape, some that go vertical, some that go horizontal in different colors. And since different people were coming in, what that was, they found out where your perfect spot was, placed the tape, and your head was not to move, up, down, forward, or back from that. You stayed right here. And so that microphone was right in the right place. And I discovered, I'm reading paragraph after paragraph after paragraph of random information. It could be sports, it could be science, it could be directions, it could be celebrities, their kids and their spouses, it could be absolutely nonsense. But I found myself taking that deep breath before I went. And they said, look, you can't take that breath. You just can't do it. You can't take that breath. That messes up our whole thing. You can breathe once you're into it, but you can't take that breath. And it took me a little while to not do it. But then I went home and I thought about it. And I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer online here. It's a rhetorical question. How often do you have a piece of copy? And the way you start is, and then jump into it. I also want you to notice when you're just out in the world being you and having conversations, do you even notice when you take a breath? You never do that in real life. You never go, well, Charles, what's going on? How we doing? What's for dinner? You never do it. And one of the things I think that'll help you become more and more natural is just saying it. Not taking the breath, not preparing to get through this long list of words, but just start talking. And you notice I didn't say start reading. The words are only there to remind you of what you're saying. Take them off the page. We got to translate the written word into the spoken word. Somebody has... Oh, boy. Well, Jay, I think you're going to be the last one here because this is long, man. Let me move it over here. Oh, okay. Jay, one of the things I'd like to do this weekly or monthly or via workouts with a moderator, with somebody like you, Dave, Joe C., etc., I find that work with those who aren't next level makes one better, those who are next level. Do you have or know of any workouts that are going now? I found some, but the moderators aren't seasoned, and I just had Tim Tippett set up my Vox. I think you meant Vox Box. Oh, gosh. I'm going to have to give these more time. Vox plugin, a VoxBox plugin, and already getting numerous compliments on my sound. Thanks again for introducing him. I know have next level or better sound than that custom to my voice. Okay, you're typing fast too. I do the same thing. That at the same time doesn't sound processed. Overall, woke up my sound of my 416. Yeah, it's amazing. The idea of processing is not to sound processed. The idea of processing is so you sound more natural. And when your spots are breathing, when you can tell that the compression is on, you've done too much. And Tim Tippett's tuned up my cleanup and set my Vox box. And it's very, very, very clean. And guess what? These days, because of COVID and because people are discovering, I can spend less money if I don't have to hire another studio or bring these people into studios. I can do it in less time. We're going to be doing a lot more work from home. And they want to know that your studio is up to par. I had to do a test today. It always annoys me just a little bit. Look, my studio is clean, baby. My stuff is right. And don't you know I've been doing this for 30 years and I've had a studio for more than 20 years? So come on! Why do I have to send you a test or do a test? But I do. I do the test. So, for things like getting your studio together, getting your sound together so that you sound more like you. You want to go to a Tim Tippett's. You want to go to a George Whittam. You want to go to a Jordan Reynolds. Okay? Okay, those guys are out there to do that. None of us can do it all on our own. And with that, it's 6:50. I'm going to get out with 10 minutes to spare. Maybe dinner's ready. We'll see. In the meantime, I want you guys to book something. Keep your head up. Keep being you. And again, this will live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. And if you're interested in private coaching or to be reminded that these happen every Wednesday or find out where I'll be teaching, you can visit davefennoy.com and sign up. And I promise you, I won't be filling your email box, but you will get a few messages from me about some things that hopefully you're interested in. And with that, I'll see you next week. And who did I say? Oh, Rolanda Watts. And she'll be on, and she is a hoot. You're going to love her. So next week, same bat time, same bat station. And in the meantime, book something.